Sometimes we are so good and kind that we forget ourselves, allowing others to use us. We believe we must always be kind, and we end up becoming invisible. Have you ever wondered why you tend to be too kind, or because, on the contrary, there are people who are always kind and ready to help you, even when you don't ask them for help? In the Zen story you will hear soon, you will discover that there is a dark side to kindness, and if you want to live peacefully, you have to understand it in order to find the right balance. So stay until the end because the advice you will receive will help you live your relationship with others more serenely and find your inner peace. But before continuing, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share the video. In this way, you will help us produce new content every day for your personal and spiritual growth. In a monastery nestled in the mountains of Japan lived the elderly monk Ariko, famous for his extreme wisdom. One day, a girl named Chiara approached him telling of her disappointments. "Master, over time I have collected many disappointments linked to people who I thought were friends, and who instead did not prove that they were. I have always been an extremely kind person, but my concern for others has only brought me so much pain. What am I doing wrong?" The master smiled kindly and began to tell an ancient story, a legend passed down by monks for generations. The story was about a village surrounded by a lush forest, a place where kindness and generosity among people were the beating heart of the community. The prosperity of that village was linked to a magnificent cherry tree. "Imagine," Ariko said to Chiara, "a majestic tree whose roots go deep into the earth, a symbol of the strength and generosity of the village." Legend has it that the village prospered thanks to the wisdom of the people who learned to share their resources. However, Ariko added, over time some people began to take more than they gave. Some approached the cherry tree, picking the fruits without contributing to the care of the tree, or without sharing them with the other villagers. So, little by little, the generosity of the village began to weaken, and with it, the entire community. The young Chiara listened attentively, while her eyes reflected the desire to understand the nuances of life. Ariko, with her serene gaze, continued to share the history of the village, bringing to light details and teachings that had been passed down through the centuries. "The moral of this story," said the monk, "is that generosity must be balanced. We must give with an open heart, but with wisdom and balance. If we give without discernment, we risk exhausting our resources and weakening our ability to be truly useful to others." Chiara was happy to listen to the master's words, and a new awareness about the concept of kindness arose in her. We might think that kindness is always good, since it helps maintain our well-being, Ariko continued. However, it is not when it crosses boundaries and leads to acting kindly in all circumstances. In this case, it is toxic kindness, a form of servility where we forget ourselves to be attentive to the needs of others. Think of a parent who gives everything of himself for the well-being of his children, to the point of putting himself in the background. Ariko's story was enriched with new details. He described, for example, how some people, in their desire to accumulate, had neglected their duty to care for the tree that had given them so much. He explained how the connection between giving and taking was a delicate balance, a harmonious flow that required attention and respect. Chiara, immersed in the story, began to reflect on her own life and the relationships she had experienced over the years. The monk, sensing his desire to learn, continued to share his wisdom. He talked about how expecting too much from others could lead to disappointment, and how setting boundaries was essential to maintaining one's emotional well-being. "Remember," Ariko said, "I'm not saying that doing something for others is wrong. It is, however, focusing only on others. There are situations in which we want to please others because they ask for our help, or because we believe, sometimes mistakenly, that they need us, and we offer to make them feel good." Time passed peacefully. Ariko and Chiara delved into the nuances of generosity and wisdom. The monk spoke of how generosity, when it came from a balanced heart, could transform relationships and bring joy to both those who give and those who receive. And Chiara felt that the monk's wisdom was helping her to understand many things. The young woman learned that generosity should flow like a harmonious current fueled by deep awareness and sincere love, and that should never be forced. Ariko concluded her narration with loving advice. Chiara, try to be like the cherry tree in the village. Offer your generosity, but keep your balance. Find joy in the act of giving itself, without expecting too much in return. Remember that extreme kindness can be harmful. Sometimes, in fact, we don't leave room for others to achieve what they want, because we anticipate them. Furthermore, we focus too much on what others need, and we forget what we need. In this way, we cancel ourselves, and we begin to become invisible due to our own actions. By always being attentive to the needs of others, our own needs take a backseat, so we trample on ourselves, we take away our value, and others take advantage of it. Chiara thanked the monk with a heart full of gratitude. He felt that that story and the advice that came from it would mark a new chapter in his life. But what does this story teach us? What is moral? That generosity is a powerful gift, but it must be cultivated with care and awareness if we want it to bring benefits both for us and for those who receive our help. Balance in giving and receiving is the key to a fulfilling and meaningful life. If we are too kind, if we are willing to do whatever is asked of us just to be considered good people, we end up no longer knowing how to say no and being exploited. In the long run, this could have repercussions on personal motivation, self-esteem, and our mental balance. So, what to do? Stop being good people? No, because there are various ways to be kind in a healthier way. You can set limits, making others understand how far they can go. Say goodbye to guilt, learning to say no when you can't or don't want to go further. Draw up a list of priorities so as to continue helping others, but without putting yourself aside. Remember, be kind, but not overly so. This could harm yourself and even those you want to help. What do you think? Write it in the comments and let's talk about it together.